climbing, discover your money temperament. We're now up to chapter 5, which is actually in the book. It's divided into two parts. Part 1 was chapter 1 through 4, and we're now in chapter 2. Chapter 2 is my solution for everything I talked about in part 1. Part 1 is the problem. The problem is we're human. We make crazy, ridiculous, sometimes stupid money choices. We're all human and we're not naturally wired to work well with money. Money decisions are always emotional. Our belief set influences how we think and feel about money. You can fine tune and even change your belief set with regard to money. Modern life is complex, fast changing, and fast moving. You have to make money choices quickly, and they're consequential. The rules of money have changed, and today everybody is self-employed. So what are you going to do? I've defined a problem that in traditional sense is pretty bleak for some people. I laid out, I was told I needed to do this. I did all the right things. I did well in school. I got the degree everybody said I was supposed to do. I did everything my counselors told me. I read all the books, the how-to stuff. I got that great job. I get laid off. I have this skill set. It's no longer relevant. I have made some incredibly bad money choices because I just didn't know. I thought I was supposed to have the big car. I thought I was supposed to have the expensive clothes. I thought I was supposed to have the big house, play golf, join the clubs, have the stuff. And now you're asking, is that true? Is that really the reality? And one of the reasons I wrote this book is to make everybody understand that stuff's all okay. You do that because you're human. But the reality is there's nobody out there talking to you like I am that says, wait a minute, stop. You need to take an assessment of who you are, why you do what you do, what is important in life to you, and then build a strategy accordingly. And that's what part 2 is all about. Part 2, I introduced the money behavior system. The money behavior system starts with what I call money values. Money values are critical. You all have them. They're what make you, they drive you to spend the way you do and consume the way you do. They drive you to do the things that you do with money. Money values are your core. Now, when I'm talking about money values, most people have never had this discussion. And money values are very different than goals. To me, goals are tangible things that you can go out and buy. And, it's stuff. Values are emotional. Values are part of your essence. Values make you what you are. Money values are the things that if they don't happen, they're going to cause great anxiety to you and your family. In the simplest sense, it's what's important about money to you. In the book, I have exercises and I go into this great depth. And I learned as a financial advisor that we never went through this drill. Granted, we went through goal setting. And the goal setting, I got so good at goal setting with clients that by the time when I introduced or walked them in at the door and walked them back to my office and asked a few questions, I pretty much knew what we were going to talk about, what I was going to recommend, and how much it was going to cost. And it usually revolved around, hey, you need a house to live in, you got kids, they got to go to school, you need a retirement plan, and you got to be able to take care of that. So if we can focus on those 3 areas, and I can make sure that you've got the house you're looking for. But that was a stuffed discussion. I learned working with hundreds and hundreds of clients that we have to go deeper than that. We need to figure out what makes you do what you do. And this is feeling brain stuff. Money values are a function of what is important in life to you that cost money. There are a lot of things that are important in life to you, but you're not paying for them directly. You may think a clean environment is a wonderful, noble goal, but you're not being billed on a monthly basis to go fix that, if that makes sense. So you've got small v values and big V values. You've also got things that are values that cost money that are not significant. For example, I'm a triathlete, I ride bikes, and you can spend an ungodly amount of money on a bicycle. $10,000, $15,000 on a high-end super bike, hey. But if you're talking a bike for just basic transportation, Or if you get to the point where you're at my age, a bike like that probably isn't going to make that much difference. The bike I have is probably adequate. All I have to do is work on the engine. So that's a small V value. And I call that a goal. But let's talk about your big V values. What are the things that drive you to do the things you do with money, and they're emotional? For example, you may say that you'd like to open an orphanage in some third world country to help those kids have a better life. Man, that's a noble, emotional goal. That's a big V value. Or I live in Georgia. Maybe you'd like to have a brass plaque with your name on it, screwed into the wall of the locker room at Georgia that said, you're a sponsor. You gave money for that and it's going to cost you $10,000. Your wife thinks you're absolutely out of your mind, but whatever. But that's a value. So when I say money values, what is important about money to you? And it's broader and deeper than just stuff. Let's use real estate, for example. When I work with realtors, most real estate folks I work with say, well, what business? Well, I sell houses. No, you're not selling houses. You're selling money values. Let me give you an example. When I bought my house, I was pretty much asked, not much. And then, well, let me give you a better example, one that's easy to get your head around. Let's talk about that bicycle again. As I said, I'm a cyclist. We could go into a store and I go into a bike shop, high-end bike shop, and they've got all the bikes all over the place. And usually the clerk is going to come over and say, okay, tell me about your riding habits. Tell me what you want to do and how much money do you have to spend. And then they're going to choose 3 options, a high end, a low end, and a mid end, and hope I take the middle one. Then sell me an upsell to get the high end fitting, and we're good to go. As opposed to the discussion is, what is important about riding to you? And it's, well, I need a bike. Well, what's important about a bike to you? I need a bike because I want to be faster. What's important about being faster to you? Well, I'm a triathlete and I race bicycles, so I want to be out there on front all the time. Well, what's important about being out front all the time? Because at my time in my life, I really like the idea of being able to run faster and cycle better than a lot of the people half my age. That makes me feel great. So what's important about feeling great? It gives me psychic freedom and I feel better about myself and everything around me and keeps me going, and I love the fitness and all that. So the real answer is, if I could get you into a bike that would help you consistently perform at your peak, to put you in a position that you are competitive, to give you a feeling that you are contributing and feel good, is that really what you're looking for? That is different than, hey, I got last year's models on sale, why don't you buy one? Does that make sense? Most people never have that discussion. So when I'm talking about money, what truly is important about money to you? And I guarantee that if you're working with a money professional or you're doing it yourself, you're using the online courses or a lot of the books, they don't have this discussion because it's really hard emotionally to get this going. And I guarantee that if you've got a partner or spouse, or you're working with a group or a team or something like that, they all have different money values. And you can't make assumptions as to what that money value is. And more importantly, you can't judge. It is not my job to judge what your money value is, as long as it's moral and ethical. My job is to help you achieve it. So very simply, a money value is that thing in your life that is emotionally significant and it costs money to accomplish. That is what you're striving for. For most people, it's not retirement to live on a golf course someplace. It's quality of life. It's the ability to interact with your family. It's the ability to give back and leave a legacy. That is very different than, yeah, I can get you a lot in Hilton Head. Do you understand that distinction? Things usually don't qualify as money values. Money values are deeper. Now, here's a drill I can have you do right now, and I go into this in depth in the book. Money values. I want you to sit down and take a look at your checkbook and your bank statement. Tell me, write down where you're spending most of your money and the places you're spending most of your time. And I guarantee those are your money values. Some of you, that may be a little surprising, but it's true. And the deal is, I don't care. You might have told me you would like to have the orphanage in China, but when I look at your calendar and I look at your checkbook, it's playing golf. I'm not judging. I can probably help you get that orphanage in China, and I can help you play golf. But the deal is, you can't do both. And that's where you have to choose. Other point you have to keep in mind is our spending and goals tend to be short term, where our values tend to be long term. Are you focused on your long term money values? Are you focused on what's important or what you just want to spend money today to get that dopamine hit to keep your feeling brain engaged and impress other people around you? I can't answer that question, nor can I judge. All I've got to say is that sometime you've got to sit down and have that hard money value discussion with yourself and the people you care about. There you go, money values. Be back at you in a few minutes.